Hey, good morning. It's Saturday, September 11th. Yeah, that's right. It's 9/11 on a Saturday. That day, exactly 20 years ago, when we learned of the attacks on the Twin Towers and the Pentagon and other possible threats to our country, it was right about this time in the morning. I think any of us who were able to view things that day, those moments are seared into our minds. So the question I have this morning has to do again with, where is peace found? And I talked about it briefly last night, but I want to underscore that this morning. Peace is not the absence of being vulnerable. Rather, knowing peace is something we find when we are most vulnerable. That sounds, again, counterintuitive. It doesn't make sense, except for the fact that if we're trusting God, then we're always secure in Him. If He is the God who is in control that we say that He is, then He can always be trusted. But there are two factors that lead to us being fearful of our vulnerability. You and I as humans will always be vulnerable on this planet. There's no other way to get around it. That's a reality of life. So there's two factors that help us understand why we get in trouble with fear when we're vulnerable. The first one is that fear comes from misplaced trust. Psalm 33 teaches us that if I trust in the great war horse, if I trust in the mighty army, the things that I actually should go to war with, if that's who I'm trusting with, I will be disappointed. I will lose, because my hope is not in those things, as Psalm 33 so powerfully says. And then the second point is that we need to hang on to. Fear comes when we don't see God as our hope and our place of safety. Fear comes from misplaced trust in the wrong things, but it also comes when I don't see God as my place of safety. Again, I talk about that in this book, When Life Turns Upside Down. It's a short little book, but the purpose is just to get us our focus on being able to trust God in our vulnerability. We are always vulnerable. If you were going to take a trip across the country, you might ask some good friends to pray for you, because you'd be concerned about the long ride and the trip. But if you were going to take a trip to the supermarket, you think it was kind of silly to ask people to pray for you going to the supermarket. But if you look at the actual statistics, you're far more vulnerable, far more likely to get hurt going to the supermarket than you are driving across country. But yet our perception is that cross-country, vulnerable fear, going to the supermarket, big deal, I do it every day. See, that's the problem. I lose sight of the fact that I'm always in God's hands, always trusting Him. If I don't, He's the only Psalm 62 says, He's the only place of safety that I have. So this day, again, I have no idea what may happen or not happen this day or tomorrow or the next day on any level, whether it's weather or whether it's terror or whether it's pandemic. But I know that my place of safety is in God. Only in God is found safety. That's what brings peace in vulnerability. You and I will always be vulnerable as long as we're on this planet. But it's like the apostles when they're on the boat and the winds and the waves are roaring around them and they're afraid and they say, Jesus, do something, we're going to die. And Jesus says, you have little faith. And He walks up, speaks to the wind and the waves, and they obey Him. And the disciples are blown away. Wait a minute. Who is this that even the winds and the waves obey Him? See, that's our place of safety. Not that everything will turn out the way we want, but that I'm always safe in God's hands. And He will bring about what He wants. So even when I'm vulnerable, I can know peace. And that's the thought for this day, and it's a beautiful thought. And again, thanks so much for being here today. Lord bless you on this 9/11 and every day. Check out our website, everydaytalk247.com. Please, if you haven't subscribed, go and turn on post notifications. Videos will come right to you. Again, thank you so much for being here. The Lord bless you this day, and Lord willing, we'll talk to you tonight. You have a great day, being at peace in the midst of your vulnerability. Bye-bye.